Yeah, guys, before we get to the Browns, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not watching the game, you're reacting in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, and every highlight moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust super simply. Player props update so you can keep up with the heat-up guys. And right now, you can bet next touchdown scorers, drive results, totals, and more. So just if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, game moves fast, and so can you.
All right, Mike, you were talking with Sean King off the air yesterday. Sean on this week?
No, he's not, which is why he called me and said, hey, can you get me on this week? We had 2 guests every day, so we just couldn't fit him in. He said, all right, I got a topic for you then. I want you to pitch this to the show. And I didn't know I was going to be on the panel today, so I'm out here. But Sean said the Browns need to make a decision as an organization. What is their goal for the next 5 games? Is it to try and win football games, or is it to try and figure out if Shedeur Sanders and/or Dylan Gabriel, and Sean said it's most likely Shedeur, but one of those 2 guys could be your quarterback of the future? Because you look at the last 2 game plans they've put together against both the Raiders and the 49ers. And he did leave the caveat that weather played a big factor in the game plan against the 49ers. So little less that, more for the Raiders game. They're calling it incredibly conservative. And they're not letting Shedeur, and even going back to the games where Dylan was the quarterback, they're putting guardrails, as Jason likes to say, on what they're asking the quarterback to do. Making simple reads. They're throwing a bunch of screen passes behind the line of scrimmage, to the point where it's very difficult to make a true evaluation of whether either of those 2 could be the long-term answer at quarterback. And you're going to have a high draft pick one way or another, and there's a decent chance, if not a very good chance, they use that high draft pick on a quarterback. So Sean asked,
I'm not so sure about that, because I don't know that they're going to end up picking high enough to get one of the quarterbacks, but go ahead.
Fair. Yeah. The point is there's a chance that you need to take a quarterback.
Maybe they trade up.
Trade up, whatever. They do have the 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
So,
that, unfortunately.
So Sean asked, what do you think is the right path the Browns should take over these next 5 games? Is it try and win some of these games down the stretch, and sometimes that may be running the ball more, playing more conservatively, keeping those guardrails on the quarterback, or letting Shedeur and/or Dylan let it rip, put them in some situations where they're going to have to figure out things on the fly to try and make that ultimate determination, or whether or not either of those two could be the QB1 of the future?
Well, I mean, I don't think that it's like black and white. I think there's a little gray area to this conversation, because like for Shedeur to have success, he needs to have a running game. Mm-hmm. So you can't just flip the script and say we're just going to go like pass heavy,
air raid Mike Leach
to try and figure out if Shedeur is any good. If the defense knows you're going to throw and they're just trying to basically figure out if Shedeur is any good, well, they're just going to tee off on the guy. So that's not fair to him. There's got to be a balance for the Browns to find out if Shedeur can make some big-time plays without totally abandoning the running game. Like, I don't know. Like, if that game on Sunday, if the special teams played differently, just adequately, I think Shedeur has a chance to win the game. I think the Browns have a chance to win the game, and Shedeur would have made more plays. He threw for 150 and the 1 touchdown, I know. But I think he probably throws for 225 and maybe another touchdown. He didn't get to touch the ball in the second half. So I don't know that I love the question, because it's not just, well, we're just going to do this. Like if you decide Shedeur's going to just throw a ton, you have to run the ball. They have to be able to run the ball for Shedeur to have any success.
Right, but
any rookie quarterback.
I think this game was more extreme because of the weather conditions, and that's why they ran the ball a lot. And no coach is ever gonna give up the chance to win to maybe get a better read on the quarterback. It's just not realistic. But I think you have to let him know more or do more, because you have to have some answers. And let's face it, in your last 5 games, you're playing three of the 5 games against teams that are scoring a lot of points in Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Chicago. Now, Tennessee stinks.
Yep.
And the Steelers are not playing well, but if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, they could still score. But in most of those games, if your game plan is to run the ball 2/3 of the time, they're going to win one more game. So the current game plan is not going to be enough to get them wins anyway. So, and it's not, do you choose to develop Shedeur or see what you got in Shedeur or try to win? It's not like you can only do one or the other. It's that what's the first priority? And I do think you can make Shedeur a priority and still be trying to win. I don't think you have to do one without the other, because again, if you don't let him do more, they're not going to win any games besides Tennessee. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to just run the ball. As good as their defense is, I don't think you're going to be able to just run the ball and win games. Now, maybe against Cincinnati, because their defense is so bad that you can
play better on Thursday night.
But yeah, they've actually played better the last 2 games defensively. We'll see. I'm not buying that they're really that much better. Maybe they got a little juice from Joe Burrow coming back. But probably they're going to have to score. I mean, and that's obviously it's going to be tough if you're just running the ball all the time.
Yeah, but remember, the Browns have like the best defense in football.
Yeah, right.
So,
I hear you.
Like that's the strength of this football team, by far, is the defense. So don't you want to obviously like rely on those guys?
Absolutely, but as you said earlier today, like if you're not scoring at all, then eventually the defense is going to get worn down.
Yeah.
Right? The defense can't shut them out every week. You know, our defense has played great, but they're going to give up. You know, most of these games they're giving up 17, 20 points, whatever it is, and some of that special teams. But the special teams mistakes going to go away. Is it going to be as bad as last week? Probably not. But they're still going to make some special teams mistakes down the stretch.
They are, but I mean, they had 2 4th down conversions they didn't get.
Right.
One was I think it was near the red area or in the red area, first quarter, first drive, right?
That was on they're both right around the 30-yard line, both ways.
So in plus territory. And then the other one, the one they fumbled with the Harold Fannin thing, weren't they at their own
30?
Own 30. Yeah, like both ends
so
of 30.
I'm just saying those were drive killers. This game was a total anomaly. Everything. I mean, the special teams to have the punt return, they set up their first score. Like the Niners didn't do anything exceptional in this game.
On offense, no. They're better than the Browns.
McCaffrey had 20 rushes for 53 yards. Like,
yeah,
they did a really good job on him.
Nobody had a great game offensively for San Francisco. You know, Christian McCaffrey's yards per carry was terrible.
I mean, their quarterback's been to a Super Bowl and was considered an MVP of the league at one point, you know, and he looked average.
I mean, he was fine.
Because the weather was terrible.
Right. It factored in. He played better. Now, Shedeur's numbers are misleading because a lot of the passing yards were put up in that last drive in garbage time when they were down by 20 points. So in legit time, he really threw for like 100 yards or whatever it was. I don't know. But
well, that's every quarterback, though. I mean,
well, yeah. So I'm going to point it out too with every other quarterback, just like I would with Shedeur. But this week is a week where if you're going to loosen the reins a little bit, it's got to be this week. Tennessee's the worst team in football.
They stink. And we watched the Raiders game 2 weeks ago, and we were sitting here at the Watch Party Bowl. You were here with us, and we were like, oh, my God, the Browns have had bad moments this season. Vegas was a complete different story of how terrible they were on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
And Tennessee might be even worse than Vegas is.
Yeah.
To the initial question of, you know, how should they approach it? Is it more developmental? Is it more winning? At this point, like, winning is fun, but you're not making the play. Even if you win out here, which I don't think any of us believe is possible.
Guys want to win, though.
I'm not saying they should eventually take. I agree with you both.
Yeah.
You could let Shedeur try and do more with the attempt of still winning football games.
Yeah, of course.
You have to give him the opportunity to make more checks at the line of scrimmage, to unleash the ball downfield more often, to throw fewer screen passes than he has in the last 2 games, which has become kind of the staple of what they've done against San Francisco and Vegas. And once again, weather played a factor against San Francisco. So it's not like I'm upset about it at all. I'm just saying we've seen Shedeur at times make some really nice throws in his first 2 starts. When you go back and watch the tape, you've seen Shedeur kind of hesitate, not trust his eyes, not believe the guys are going to come open,
especially this week
when they are. And you go back and watch the All-22 against San Francisco. Like there were opportunities to make some bigger pass plays that he missed for whatever reason. It's young. I think a lot of it comes with reps and timing with some of these guys. But we need to see more of it so you can make a determination. Because I think at the end of the season, after they play Cincinnati in Week 18, we're going to go into the offseason. And the one thing we can't have, or the one thing the Browns can't have, is, are we sure we have something here? Did he show just enough that maybe we?
I think that's unlikely.
Is there not enough to base it off of? Like I think to me that's the worst case scenario, which is why I think they have to prioritize kind of seeing what they have in these 2 guys, and mostly Shedeur for my personal 2 cents, to figure out what they need to do at the position moving forward.
I think they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round if they have the opportunity, no matter what happens the rest of the way. Now, if Shedeur plays great, in these last few games, and maybe it changes their mind. But I'm going into it right now. Like,
with the assumption.
You got to go into it with the assumption, if they had an opportunity to get one of these top quarterbacks, if you believe they're really good, would they take it right now or wouldn't they? And which way has to be proven? To me, if the Browns were drafting right now and had an opportunity to take one of these top quarterbacks, if they believe they're really good,
100%
they would 100% take them right now.
Which is why you have to figure out,
right?
What do you actually, in the 2 games that Shedeur started?
Yeah,
he hasn't been great, hasn't been terrible.
Right.
It's still an unknown. I just don't think you could end the season with him still being a complete unknown mixed bag of, are we sure he's good or are we sure he stinks? It's impossible to tell off what we've seen so far.
Yeah, now, the analytics, the EPA,
not good,
would say he's been terrible.
Yeah, but 2 games isn't a big enough sample size.
It's not a
to
big
make
enough
a
sample
determination.
size.
And honestly, 6 games isn't enough.
One game was in
windstorm,
terrible conditions too, so it's not a fair enough sample size. I think this game, is one of his best opportunities. And by the way, taking off some of the guardrails doesn't mean throwing it 50 times.
No,
it just means, okay, let's be 50-50 in terms of
let's let him take a couple shots down the field.
Right. Let's let him go down the field. Let's let him read the field, see things, hopefully, and
instead of running on 2nd and 7,
right?
He can maybe throw.
Yes, and he's got to be able to audible. If you're a quarterback, you can't audible in the NFL. You can't be a starting quarterback. It's that simple.
Agreed.
So and right now I don't know if they don't think he's capable of it or they're not willing to give him a try. I don't know what it is, but obviously they've played it very conservatively. And they lost big, and it was more about the special teams than it was about the offense. But as I said earlier, you score 8 points, you score 8 points. Yeah. I know the reason they gave up as many points as they did is because of the special teams. But you can't win games when you score 8 points, no matter how good your defense is.
No, it was one drive. And the one drive they scored the touchdown and the 2-point conversion on, they ran the ball 8 straight plays.
Right.
And then dialed up a really nice play-action play where Shedeur hit Harold Fannin for the touchdown. It was a good design. It was a good throw. It was good execution.
Yeah.
You score, you get the 2-point conversion. And then you don't get back to the end zone at all. You got into the plus half of the field.
They didn't even get to the red zone.
The
Browns did not have a single play in the red zone. Not one in this game.
No, because it was a 34-yard touchdown pass. And then, even on the drives in the fourth quarter, they got into the plus territory, but then the drive stalled out twice.
Right.
The 4th and
they
16 sack and the 4th and 26.
Not one single play in the red zone this past game.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's not good enough.
Far from it.
You're not